would you recommend doing it while you're still in high school?
Hey, so it's Keith with Yarbrough and Sons, and today we're going to be speaking with the class on the trades, kind of what to go over, what we do in the trades, and just try to almost do some recruiting for future learning. You know, give kids a different option than the traditional just having to go to college and looking for an offer that is highly in demand. We definitely have issues in the trades to where, you know, for every 5 people that are getting out of the trades, there's only 1 coming in. So there's definitely a high demand for future in this industry. So I'm excited to see what kind of questions they have. So let's go.
We are here with Keith Hill. He's going to talk to you guys about, the trade schools and about the HVAC industry.
Well, thank you so much. My name's Keith Hill. I am the production manager at Yarbrough and Sons Heat and Air. I've been with Yarbrough's for 19 years, and I've been in the trade for actually 20 years. Been a pretty good field to be in. Tons of work, and it's great work because you get to work with your hands and get to know that you're really helping people out. Tons of different positions for all kinds of different people, whether it be somebody that's really technical and really wants to do kind of more of the service side of things, to where even if you wanted to be in the business side of things, or even just a basic installer to where you're just kind of a go out there and put things in and really work with your hands. So it's a great field to kind of move around in. That's where I started out as a installer, installing a whole bunch of units, and then moved into service. That kind of came more of a hands-on, but then also a technical side to where I had to do more mental things. And now I'm more in a management role to where I'm in the office a lot more, doing things on computers, which I never thought I would actually do, but that's kind of the field. You get all kinds of different options. Obviously, a lot of room to grow. Pay is really good because, like I said, any kind of in-demand job is going to want people. So the more that they want people, the more they're willing to pay. Every HVAC job is going to be different when it comes to pay, just because companies do different things. Some people are paying by your actual performance, and so they'll pay you for how much you bring into the company. So same thing, we call it piecemeal for install. So each piece of equipment they install, they get a little bit of each piece. But as of right now, we're pretty much, everything's hourly. We definitely look at our pay as how well somebody's performing is what's going to determine how much they get paid. But like I said, I think we're pretty close to one of the highest ones of starting out. We start out at $16 an hour. And obviously that can be negotiated. Obviously if you have school, that would be something that they can negotiate into, saying, well, we might give $1 more because of your schooling or because of your knowledge. If you've been doing heat and air for a while and somebody comes in, we might look at that being a little bit more. I do know, I would say about $12 is probably what you're going to get the lowest if you were looking at a job. And that company could be good. I just know we start at 16 just so we can kind of compete with some of the companies and get some of your better help. I wouldn't be surprised if you got paid $12 an hour, but that's starting out. It doesn't take very long. An apprentice program is 3 years, roughly. It's actually done on the hours you do, but roughly it's about 3 years, and then you can go take your journeyman test. Well, even in that 3 years, you're going to be learning, so you should be getting regular raises every year. $1 or $2 a year. Usually, you're going to have some of your benefits paid for. Most companies will do that, so that's always a good deal. Like with our guys, we actually have opportunities to where if they sell units or they sell different products, we give them what is called a spiff, and so they get a little bit of extra money just to go to that. And some of our spiffs pay out pretty good. So we have guys that have a potential of making $100,000 this year, which is pretty good for guys that are just going to trade schools. Welding is one where it's a lot of hard work, and the only thing I've had against welding is the fact that you never know. Oklahoma's always been one where when the oil boom comes, you're making lots of money, and then when you're out of a job. So welding has always kind of been one that's up and down. My nephew's actually a welder, but he's doing pretty well. He's in Kentucky, and he has lots of job. My wife's cousin is a welder, and he's done all kinds of welding all over the United States. So it's something you can actually go around and do if you're interested in that too. That's always good for welding. But I've always stick to HVAC because it's kept me pretty close to home. It allows me to have a great family life. But any of those, electricians, plumbing, HVAC, are always going to have work around to where you can have kind of the same deal. It's just a matter of how much you want to get into. I like the HVAC side because it allows me to be very technical stuff. I have to work on all kinds of electrical systems and stuff I never thought I'd be working on, but I do like that part of it. Electricians, you can go all kinds of ways. A lot of them are just installers that I would know. I know quite a few electricians, and they do pretty good for a living too. They have tons of work.
The last question I have is, would you recommend doing it while you're still in high school?
Absolutely. In high school would be the best way to do it, just because when I got out of high school, I had 2 jobs, so I was working quite a bit, and it wasn't very fun to do outside of high school. But just because you get out of high school, there's no reason to write it off, because if you got until you're 22, till your 22nd age birthday, you might as well go get free education on something that can potentially make a lot of money. Like I said, one of our guys, he did it in high school. I mean, he's 21 now, and he's almost got his bachelor's degree. But he did it all during high school, and then he was able to go to a little on-the-line college. And that's one thing, we worked with him because he had to have some classes where he actually showed up. So we worked with him around his schedule. You know, most companies will try to work with you. Any good company is going to try to work with you to try to improve who you are as a person. So we don't ever want to be a hinder. Now, I can't speak for every company, but that's definitely something that you can talk to whenever you get hired on at a company. But I would always suggest getting the VOTEC out of the way and then go into college, because you're going to get college credit in high school. So if you really want to go to college, it's almost not a bad way to, if you're going to go into some kind of industry like that, to get that knowledge, to get those couple credit hours out of the way.
So when you get your uniform, are you allowed to have exposed tattoos at all, or no?
Well, and that's going to vary between company to company. It used to be you really didn't want to have tattoos showing, but we have nowadays guys that have tattoos. I'd say the big one now is piercings, but you're kind of seeing that going away because most people, the thing is, we go into people's houses, and obviously people are going to have perspectives of people because of the way they look. That's just dealing with people in general. So that's always things to keep in mind if you're going to get any kind of tattoos. Maybe skull and crossbones isn't the best option, but hey, that's up to you. I mean, we don't want to discriminate against anybody just because of that. Obviously, having a clean record is always going to be the big deal.
Well, I guess the last question I wanted to ask you, Keith, is what's probably the best advice that you can have for anyone that's wanting to enter into the trades?
Start early. The earlier you get into it, the better off you're going to be. I get a lot of guys that are 40 years old wanting to talk to me about getting a job, and I'm going, I think you kind of missed your boat. We do have guys that get in that when they're older. I got people that are 30 years old getting into it. It's just a lot harder because you're going to start off at a kind of a base lower pay. And usually if somebody's been working for 10, 15 years, they're probably making somewhere that they've found a little bit more. So they have to take a pay cut. So that's always hard. So the earlier you get into it, the better you are. Obviously, this is hard work. Your body will kind of wear down over time. So you get into it, you know, my wife's cousin would like to get into it, and he's 50. So it's not something I would definitely suggest for him, but you know, if he wants to get into it, that's always, but getting in early is going to be your best bet on any kind of a career. I know that's kind of different in today's world. People seem to go into a job, and then they'll go to another job and another job, and they'll keep changing what their actual fields is, but find something you actually love and do it. You know, I did this because I had friends that were in it, and I knew I wanted to work with my hands. And so I said, well, let's go ahead and give it a try. And it's been one that I've been very successful in. I know quite a bit about the HVAC industry, and it's something you can definitely learn even outside of school. There's tons of resources online, whether it be YouTube videos and lots of advice from all kinds of different techs. That's one thing great about our industry is we want to help people learn. We're not really shy with keeping any kind of information away from anybody. We're a pretty big industry that we want more people in it, and we want people to realize what it is. And it's not a job, it's a career. That's one of the great things. So getting in early means you just have more opportunities to move ahead. But same thing, if you didn't want to move ahead, I got guys that don't want to move more than being a journeyman installer, and that's all they want to do for the rest of their life. So you get tons of options to get into, whether it be one side or the other of the industry. We are located in Blanchard, so if you are interested in that, we always want to make sure we're offering for anybody that they can come look towards us. We've been a business since 1988, so a long time. We got lots of experience. We are definitely a growing company. The last 5 years, we doubled our company, and we definitely want to keep that pace going to be one of the biggest pretty much privately owned company out there in Oklahoma. With that, we just opened actually a branch in Edmond, which has been pretty great because that's a lucrative area. That's a great area to be in. Lots of business up there. That's the thing is, Oklahoma is growing so fast that we just don't have enough people to be doing all the trades. And that's one reason we've been reaching out to all kinds of different places to try to get people to go into the trades, just because it's been a great deal for everybody that works up here. And it's not like you have just one person. It's not just one job, whether it be an install, service, or in the actual CSR kind of roles. There's obviously Bryce is our marketing director, so there's tons of different options to do that is in this industry. It's not just one thing. We have supply houses that need people that work there, which they do pretty good too. That's not a bad field. There's lots of guys that make a good living off of working at supply houses, and they'll work their way up into that supply house and do really good too. So there's tons of options. In a supply house, you don't really even need schooling. I do have a friend that he was in the trades with me, and he actually worked at a supply house, and I was glad because he kind of knew what he was talking about, and he was a real big help. So that was kind of nice that he had that background too. So I think we've built up the industry to where it's not what it was before, where you think of Joe the plumber coming out and, he's just some guy. We've actually improved it to where kids want to look towards it because we're a industry to where you can make money. I mean, you can have a career instead of just go from job to job. So anybody that's not looking to go towards something specific, it's a great industry to get into because it gives you an option to move around. And I think kids are starting to learn that maybe they don't want to go the same route as some of the ways we've done in the past of you got to go to college to make a living. This is definitely an industry where you don't have to go to college, but it's also an industry that we're happy to have people that are in college. So it's a very open industry and very great for all people from all different types of lives. I'm very appreciated that I got to talk to high schoolers and anybody that wants to talk about the trades. It's one of the favorite things that I like to talk about. Always looking forward to having young people get into this industry. Like I told them at the end, the best time to get in is early as possible. So whether you can go to school in high school and learn this trade and then get out and have a well-paying job, we've really opened it up in the industry to where you can go out and be very successful with just a little bit of schooling, which is great. But that's always what I like to show to the kids is that there is opportunity for them to succeed. So if you want to know any more about getting into the trades or any other questions for Yarbrough and Sons, please feel free to leave them in the comment below. Thank you guys.
Yarbrough